Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, I'm Shelly and I love books and reading, and that's what this channel is all about. It's a place where I can really kind of chat and nerd out about my books and reading. And anyway, so what am I doing today? Today I'm going to be talking about some recent reads that I have finished while on vacation in California. So if you are new here, then you wouldn't know, but this is not my normal setting. I am vacationing in California right now with my family to visit a bunch of extended family. My parents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, and we came here as a family and we have really been enjoying ourselves. But this is not a life update. This is vacation update, really. This is a recent reads, what I finished while being here in California and in Vegas. And then at the end, I'll kind of update you on how the vacation has been going. Okay, so let's just get started. The first book that I finished, I actually read on my Kindle. I did it as a buddy read with Fraser Simon's The Channel of Springboard Thought. And we read The Colony by Audrey Magee. So Audrey Magee is an Irish writer, and I found out about this book when I was combing through some new releases that were going to come out, I believe in April or March, something like that. And the cover of The Colony really gripped my heart. I thought it was such a cool cover. The cover is that of a painter painting, and it's very layered. It looks very artsy. It looks very literary fiction, and I was like, yes, you are for me. So I found out about The Colony from doing research for that video, and I finally picked it up. So what is The Colony? So The Colony was published in 2022, and it is about an artist named Lloyd who decides to travel to a remote island in Ireland in order to rediscover his art and to have essentially an experience. And while he's there, staying on this little island, we discover that this island is mostly occupied by a single family, and there is another stranger to the island, another visitor to the island, and that is J.P. Masson. Now, Masson, he is on the island in order to research and study and preserve Gaelic, which is the old Irish tongue, and he can find Gaelic in a very pure form through a speaker on this remote island. And so these visitors are together, and the story kind of takes off and gets complicated from there. I loved the themes of family dynamics and the ideas of betrayal that Magee explores throughout the novel. There's also strong themes of colonization, art, language, linguistics, and preservation. So if that is your thing, I would really highly recommend it. I really enjoyed this read. It was fantastic. The last thing I'll mention about The Colony before going is that because we as the reader spend this time on an island that is quiet and very has this a solace to it. There was something about that I really enjoyed. There was this disconnect from technology. So even though the book is set in 1979, there is definitely this disconnect from anything technological, any type of screen. And so in a lot of ways, the book felt very timeless, and I really love that about The Colony. Okay, so now let's move on. The next book I read, I also did as a buddy read, and I read the book with Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl and AJ Dunn of AJ Dunn Reads and Writes. And we read Piranesi by Suzanna Clarke. This was published in 2020, and it won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2021. This is a fantasy novel. It's quite short, and this is Suzanna Clarke's second novel. Okay, so I was given some advice before reading this novel, and I'm going to share it because it really worked for me. The advice was given to me by a commenter named Medium John Silver, who is absolutely wonderful, and what he said was to try and envision the space that Suzanna Clarke is creating in Piranesi. Try and envision every room and every kind of in the house that she's constructing through her narrative, through her writing. And so I did that, and that was really cool because space is really important in this book, because it is about a labyrinth, a house, a space that is very liminal. And it is about a character that is very innocent and is occupying this world. And a lot of the puzzle is figuring out what is going on in this liminal, interesting labyrinth of a space with this very innocent and charming character. I found Piranesi very charming. Now, interestingly, we had mixed opinions in our read. A couple of us really loved it. One of us didn't love it so much. And so that really got me thinking about who I would recommend Piranesi to. I would recommend this book to people who actually don't normally read fantasy. Though I think this could read for fantasy readers as well. But I think that this is the kind of fantasy that is very approachable, that has, to me, a great twist because I am not used to reading fantasy. And I just found it really charming. So yeah, so if you are one of those people who is like, I would love to read a fantasy novel, but I don't know where to start, this is a great place to start. Gosh, I really was sucked in. I wanted to know what happened. I love the main character, and yeah, on so many levels, this worked for me. This worked for me. The next book I finished was a very slim little work outside of my normal wheelhouse of reading, and that was this little book of poetry entitled Gold by Rumi. Rumi was writing in 1250 AD, so this is quite an old work, and this copy was given to me by Fraser at the channel Springboard That. I loved this small book of poetry. It really explores the themes of joy and love and laughter and letting go of things that don't matter and focusing on the things that do matter. And wow, wow, oh my goodness, I should say who this is translated by. So Rumi wrote in Farsi, and this is translated by Hala Liza Ghaffori, and this is supposed to be an excellent translation of Rumi, and I really, really loved this book. So let me share a poem with you, and so if you want to pick up Gold by Rumi, you know what you're getting into. So this is on page 3. This is the first poem in the book. Let love, the water of life, flow through our veins. Let a love-drunk mirror, steeped in the wine of dawn, translate night. You who pour the wine, put the cup of oneness in my hand and let me drink from it until I cannot imagine separation. Love, you are the archer. My mind is your prey. Carry my heart and make my existence your bullseye. It was just such a wonderful read. Yes, I cannot highly recommend this enough for any kind of reader, especially ones that are interested in kind of being gentle to the heart. Anyways, great book. The next book that I am reading is for the Jane Austen July, which is an event, a readathon that's going on right now in July, and kind of by happenstance alone, the group read, the main read for Jane Austen July was the read that I was planning on reading anyways, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So this was published in 1813, and this is a reread for me. If you don't know anything about Pride and Prejudice, this follows the Bennet family, who have some money, but since the Bennet family has 5 daughters and women do not inherit wealth in this time period, which is in the Regency time period in England, they are in a predicament, the Bennets are. And so Mrs. Bennet is very worried about marrying her daughters off to the gentlemen who will be able to take care of their family the most, or, good matches, I would say. Yeah. So that's what Pride and Prejudice is about, and it mostly centers on the oldest daughter, Lizzie, who is a reader and hard-headed and opinionated. And anyways, okay, so as a reread, this has been wonderful, absolutely wonderful for many reasons. One of which is that I don't have to pay attention to who is who. I know the characters fairly well, and so I am really just kind of cozying up to Jane Austen's language and like her style. And this read, I am noticing quite a few different things that I didn't notice the first time around. One of which is how much I'm really enjoying Lizzie Bennet and the nuances of her character that I didn't notice before. As far as characters go, I am loving, like, living for Mr. Bennet and his dry wit and his sort of sarcastic way that he describes interactions and the way that he plays with his wife. So I'm loving the character of Mr. Bennet. I'm also really kind of luxuriating in Jane Austen's wit and her circuitous writing. So whether it be her sentences, her chapters, or even her paragraphs, at whatever level, that she's got this kind of way of writing in which it sort of forms a bit of a circle. And I really love that, and I'm really noticing that in this go around of the read. It's just been wonderful. Can you tell? Also, I picked up this Everyman's Library edition when I went book shopping at my local bookstore here, the bookstore that I grew up going to. And yeah, it's wonderful. So I have this gorgeous copy, and I'm also listening to parts narrated by Rosamund Pike, who is a fantastic narrator. And all around, it's just been a wonderful experience. I'm cozying up for this last part because I thought I would give you a little update on how the vacation is going. So the vacation, in the long short of it, is that it is going wonderfully. I'm going to set that up there actually. The vacation is going wonderfully. We have been visiting with family. I have 5 siblings, and 4 out of 5 of my siblings are here in town. And so we've been able to see each other and enjoy each other's company and spend quite a bit of time together. So, and then also my brothers have children, and so I've been able to see nieces and nephews. I was also able to go to Vegas. And if you are a longtime watcher, or if you've been paying attention to my channel recently, packing for Vegas was quite stressful for me. I mean, fun, stressful. I didn't know what to wear. I'd never been to Vegas before. So Vegas ended up being a really interesting experience because it was broken into 3 distinct parts. One of which was that my husband and I did this trip together, and so we were able to have some couple time together where we wandered around Vegas and spent time just being ourselves and doing our thing, and that was super awesome because we don't get to do that very often. The second part of the trip was very social in a lot of ways. I was the +1 to my husband's work event there in Vegas, and so I saw people that I knew from South Carolina, from my home, and I, hung out with them, people from my husband's work, and then I met quite a few new people, and I was able to spend time with them, whether it be at dinners or quick meetups for drinks or something like that. So some of our time was actually very, very social. And then the last bit of time was for me. And I realized I am not a gambler. I actually really like quietness, quiet spaces. And if you have ever been to Vegas, or if you don't know, Vegas is an incredibly loud place. And so when I was on my own, I often either walked, getting out onto the strip, or getting outside where the noise calmed down a little bit, or I would go to my hotel room in which I would just read or enjoy the gorgeous view. The view was beautiful, and or sit in this enormous bathtub. They in our hotel room in Vegas had this enormous bathtub, and so I would spend time just luxuriating in that. But yeah, I realized something about myself, which was not that surprising, but yeah, I'm not really one to hit the slot machines. I'm not really one to stand at a craps table. I am more one to kind of, quietly head to my room and close the door and snuggle up and read while enjoying a beautiful view. But regardless, it was a wonderful trip, and overall we're loving our time here in California. And yeah, so anyways, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Actually, I'm curious about you. How is your summer going? I'd be curious to know. How are you feeling these hot days? What have you been reading during this summertime? If you were living in a place that has warm climate right now, I'd be curious to know. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.